Hi, how are you? Welcome to a weekly conversation. I pop on and I answer questions. I talk about topics. I talk about things I'm learning, I've learned, and things I am learning. And we always start with a question. Question of the day is, which hat do you wear? A fedora. You're balancing the 9 to 5 and a side hustle. B, a wide brim. Your passion is your profession. C, a baseball cap. Juggling full-time family and work. Okay, so that is the question of the day. And just because, y'all, I love me some visuals. Fedora, balancing a 9 to 5. The wide brim. Your passion is your profession. This is what you do. This is life, all you do all the time. And then the baseball cap. You are balancing it all with a family. I want to know in the comments, because if you're anything like me, you wear a lot. And the question then becomes, are you happy with the hat that you're wearing? Are you happy with where you're at in the things that you're doing? Because the great thing about the accessories that you wear or the business decisions that you make is that you can change them at any time. Now, I understand if you are balancing a full-time job, a family, and trying to do a side hustle, you might hear that and say, no, Jasmine, I actually can't change it. Well, there are things that you can change. First and foremost, how you spend your time. But even more important than that, the way that we're thinking about where we are spending our time and how it's affecting us. Because before I actually talking about setting our priorities, we have to first define and understand that success is not a one size fit all. Your version of success should match your goals. So what do I mean by that? Is that oftentimes we look at success as it's defined, like, oh, if I have $1 million in my bank account, I'm a success. If I have a Maserati or a Ferrari, I'm a success. But then there are some people who look at that and be like, that's actually not my version of success. My version of success would be to have dinner with my family every single night. Maybe that's yours. Your version of success could be to have enough money to send your children to private school. That's your version of success. So it's going to be important for you to define what success means for you. I mean, sure, who wouldn't want a really fancy car? Great. But if in the process of getting a really fancy car or living in a mansion of a house, you lose the things that are most important to you, you're not a success, you're just rich. So the thing that we actually have to define more than anything is that success is reserved for those who work for it. Now I know that if you are watching this right now, it's not a matter of if or how, but you will absolutely work for the thing that you want and how you're going to get it. But when we talk about working for success and we talk about work, we look at that and say, oh, okay, well, the people who are working are successful and I have not got that for myself. If you have ever questioned the way that I have questioned in the past, hey, why does it seem like some people are more successful than others? And like real talk, if you've ever struggled with the thought of why are other people more successful than me? Let's have a conversation. Like, let's just get real. Like, why are we going to fake the funk? Why are we going to front? What I have learned is that it comes down to how you spend your time, AKA, what are your priorities? Now, I know that my jam, what I love talking about is business. I love business, and I specifically love business for small business owners. People who are like, I can start a business and change my life. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm talking about right now. So if we know that you have a lot of things going on and you have a small business, you're balancing and juggling all the things, you're wearing every hat in your business, okay, let's just have a straight out talk. How you spend your time is a reflection of what is most important to you. What do you need to get done in a day? What can you let go of? And what is helping you move towards your goals? So how you spend your time is a reflection of what is most important to you. So at night when you're tired and burnt out and you're like, I just want to watch The Bachelor. I just want to watch the rerun season of Friends. No problem. Go right ahead. But that is what is most important to you, how you spend your time. So if you know that we all have a set amount of hours in a day and how we spend our time, the question then becomes, how do we prioritize what is most important to us and what moves the needle in our business? What can we let go of? How can we ask for help? Because we have to have a deep understanding of asking and understanding if our current schedule reflects what matters most to us. So if building a business is not a priority, own it. If building a business is a priority, then show it. Now, I understand. I would never come out and say, if you want to build a business, you better be posting on social media every single day. You better not sleep. You better grind until the grave. You better work every single weekend. Like, I would never come out and say anything of the sort. What I will say is that your actions map your ambition. Your actions map your aspiration. So if you are juggling a lot, anything that you can do to prioritize what are most important is going to be and have massive effects in your business. Now, I should probably take a step back and take a little bit of a breath. I know that whenever I talk about this topic, I get very passionate. Because I am the daughter of an immigrant. I have seen my parents lose their home twice. We have been evicted. We grew up very poor. The church is the organization that sustained us during holidays and would leave food for us. And the reason why I'm so passionate about people starting a business is because they then, just like I have, found a sense of control and limitless opportunity. Now, if you are along the same lines and you're like, but Jasmine, all the odds are stacked against me, I'm doing all the things, I'm saying I deeply and profoundly understand what that means. So I, over the last decade, have had to learn how to juggle not having enough money, not having enough people believe in me, working in order to sustain my dreams, doing 2 jobs at once to make sure that we could pay the bills. So I know exactly what that is, and I'm just gonna share 5 tips that have really changed the game for me. I wanted to align my priorities with my goals, starting with number 1, write down everything you need to do. Now, I know that sounds very, very, very basic, but let me tell you, this simple act of getting it out of your mind and on a piece of paper has been a game changer. Because I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. Your brain is meant to generate ideas and not store them. So our brain is a muscle. And the more ideas and the more things that we keep on here, grocery list, things to do, the project that's due at your job, in addition to projects that are due for your own side hustle, the pickup line schedule for your kids, whatever it is, get it all down on a piece of paper and out of your mind, because then it allows your brain to actually think of pathways on how to prioritize and get work done. We want to free up mental space to actually do the work. Get it out. So yesterday I heard 3 great pieces of advice when it comes to actually looking at a to-do list and getting it done. Number 1, get a good night of rest. Yeah. Number 2, make sure that you have a good, healthy meal. And then number 3, change the space that you're working in. Do you notice oh yeah, okay, I did it this morning. Is I normally go live from my office, but today my daughter and my husband are out. And I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna change my location. Why? I wanna open up different experiences and have my brain think and hear and connect with you here in real time around what we can learn and do. So number 2 for prioritizing to get towards our goals is to eliminate and delegate what you can. And this becomes I'm telling you, I've talked about this before, and it's such a hot button issue. People say, well, it's so easy for you to do that. But you see, and I get it. We all have 24 hours a day, all of us. But our 24 hours are not equal. I don't have 5 children. I have 1. I get to work from home. Other people don't. I understand that there are people who have bigger teams and private funding and loans from the bank to grow their business at a faster rate differently than I am. We all have the same, we all have 24 hours, but they're not the same 24 hours. So I want people to hear and know that I am wildly empathetic to the fact that you have so much going on, but I also know there is nothing more overwhelming than looking at a list that is impossible to complete. When you look at all the things, you almost say, I'm this much closer to quitting because it's impossible for me to do the things that I need to do to get to where I want to go. But what if we told ourselves a different story? What if we asked for help? What if we delegated tasks? What if we found a virtual assistant? And this is where people are like, Jasmine, I have barely enough to pay my bills. How am I going to find a virtual assistant? Well, let's chat about eliminating anything that doesn't move the needle forward. If you are not necessary to do that task, can you take it away from yourself? Can you outsource tasks? Can you get creative on who is helping you get what you need to do and know? So for instance, when money was very, very, very tight, when I was starting one of my first businesses, I was trading services. I was trading my advice or my photography. I would say, I'm a photographer and I need help doing this. I said, can I take photos of you or can I take photos of your business? And in turn, you can help me do this in my business. I was trading and it didn't cost me money. Another thing that I found getting help with, and this is what I've seen some working moms do, is they come together and say, can I do either like play dates? Can I do pickup? Can I do babysitting on these days? And then on those days, you do pickup, all babysitting, do all that stuff so that I have a clearly amount of hours to dedicate to my business. We want to get creative with what we can delegate, outsource, or make time for. Number 3, sort by what's important versus urgent. Now, I know everything in business is important, right? But let's define what important things are. Tasks that support your goals and ultimately determine your success. Now remember, you by now have defined what does your version of success look like? Is it going on vacation twice a year? Is it a dinner with your family? Is it being a coach? Is it buying a Porsche? Is it moving to a different zip code? Whatever your version of success is, you only want to do things that get you closer to that. You don't want to do things that keep you busy. You want to do things, I'm sorry. This happened last week. Exactly at this time, like at 12 minutes, I'm like, excuse me. We're back. We were talking about what was important. And it's so easy for us to get distracted by what is urgent. Pressing task with a looming deadline, but they're not a high priority. Y'all, for years, I was caught up in doing what was urgent. I need to respond to these emails right now. I need to prioritize my tasks right now. But they made me feel busy and they were like, oh, I'm doing all this stuff. But actually, those things weren't actually getting me closer to my version of success. They were keeping me stuck. So learning how to prioritize what is defined as important, something that gets you closer to your to your dreams, to your version of success, and something that's urgent, needs to get done, but never to over what is doing the tasks that are important versus urgent. Number 4 is to create a plan. You want to break down big projects into smaller bite-sized tasks and then determine a schedule. Now, this right here is where so many people get frustrated or stuck. Because they can say, oh, I need to do this. And then when it comes back to reverse engineering, when it comes down to like, oh, let me work backwards to think of all the small steps, they're like, what are those small steps? I don't know. So I'm just gonna continue doing something and then hope that it's gonna come out without actually taking the time to figure out what those small steps are. Now, I have said it 1,000 times before, but the social curator community is such a great place to come in and ask questions of other business owners to say, like, have you been in this situation? What are the things that I'm not thinking of or seeing, and getting feedback. It is okay to ask how to create a plan to get to where you want to go. It is okay to ask how to create the plan. What you want to do as you're creating your plan is to make the most of small pockets of time. I do not want you to look at 5 or 10 or 15 minutes and think, oh, yeah, you know, I can't get a lot done. I promise you, like, our brand ambassador, Elizabeth, she's on this live chat and she knows my schedule. Like, she knows it down to a minute. Every single 5 minutes of the day is, I'm going to respond to direct messages. I'm going to reach out and post a story. I'm going to do this. Like, every time there is 5 minutes, I'm doing something to maximize my time in my day. Not because I'm like smart or special or fun or like really productive. I just know that my version of success is balancing time to spend time as a mom and be fully present with my daughter. So any 5 minutes earlier in the day that I can get work done so I can prioritize time with her after a work day, that's my version of success. So I'm prioritizing my actions to map to what I think is important and what I think is the most vital to my business growth, which is maximizing my time, still balancing being a mom. Number 5 is to commit to consistency. I want you to be honest with yourself about the capacity and then establish realistic time frames. Like, I see often, and this is something I did a boatload of, which was to say, okay, I can take care of this project in 2 weeks. And then about 3 or 4 days into it, I would realize that the project would take more than 2 weeks. And then I would beat myself up when the 2 weeks came and I didn't get it done. Knowing good and well, I was wildly unrealistic with how long this project was going to take me. But the more that you set out like a big goal and then say, what are the small steps in between there? And let me prioritize what I need to do. The more that I started doing that, the better I got with timing. So instead of getting really frustrated and being like, I move too slow, I'm too dumb, it's taking me longer. No. That is a story. You could choose to tell yourself a story of negativity. I'm dumb, I'm slow, everybody does it faster. Or you can choose to say, I'm learning as I go. I'm going to get better at assessing time, and everything I learned today will save me more time in the future because I'm not going to have to relearn that. Friends, I want you to show up for yourself the way that you show up for others. If you heard your mom or your sibling or your friend or your child say things like, I'm so dumb, it's not moving fast enough, if I just was smarter. If you heard people say that again and again, you probably would look at them and say, don't talk to yourself that way. And yet we tell ourselves on the daily as a small quiet narrative, you're not moving fast enough, your timeline is wrong, somebody's doing more, somebody's doing better. I want you to remember that success is reserved for those who work for it. Your version of success, not what is shown out on social media, although that could be your version. Traveling the world on a yacht could be your version of success. Great. But if you're like, you know what, I really don't want to stop in Tunisia and I don't want to live in a boat for 4 months. No problem. What is your version? Now, once you define how you are successful, then you work in micro steps and prioritize what gets you closer to your version of success. Now, like always, I am not just about talking. I love doing. I want you to take action toward your goals. If you are a small business owner and you liked this small little light chat, I want you to come to my live class, What I Learned Selling 7 Figures on Instagram. And I'm going to talk about the systems that you can build to hit your sales goals in your business. So I am talking about prioritizing your time according to your goals. Now, once we have laid the foundation for prioritizing time and getting to your goals, great. Now let's set some sales goals. And in this 1 hour live class, I'm going to be walking through how are you actually monetizing on the back of social media, specifically Instagram and its sister company, Facebook. So you can register jasminestar.com/sales. Let's get into some Q&A. Oh, and also in that class, which is different from this, I'm going to be bringing on business owners live. You can just raise your hand and we're going to be doing sales strategy sessions. We're going to be doing business coaching. Y'all, I like live for this stuff. I freaking am so excited for this class. I can't wait to see you there. Let's get into the live questions that are coming in. Okay. Some of the questions that were asked. Let's go into Stephanie Thomas. How do you schedule your social media tasks so they don't feel overwhelming? Now, Stephanie, let's first frame this as a reminder. Overwhelm is the abundance of everything you have asked for. There was a time, Stephanie, and anybody else who's watching, that you just wished people would pay attention to your social posts. There was a time where you just wished you had 100 followers on Instagram. And everything you wished for, that abundance of, wow, I do actually have 100 followers on Instagram. I do have 100 people like my Facebook page. I do have 100 subscribers to my YouTube channel. All of that abundance, it sometimes can cause overwhelm because you're like, how do I stick up with it? Well, first and foremost, let's express gratitude for getting the thing that you want. Now what we're going to do is what we just talked about was aligning our priorities to our tasks. I don't get overwhelmed posting on social media, not because I'm good at it, but because I put the appropriate time. So today I'm going to go live on Instagram, and that's going to be my post for the day. I'm not overwhelmed at that concept because I put in my schedule 30 minutes for that. Now, that's like yesterday, I posted on Instagram and it took me 5 minutes. But I allocated 10 minutes to post on Instagram. And then in the remainder 5 minutes, I would go through and start commenting on yesterday's post and responding to DMs. And then later today, I have another 15 minutes in there to go into respond to DMs, respond to comments, do what I can. I try not to get overwhelmed because it's a priority. And remember, if we differentiate what's urgent and what is important, for me, what is important for my goals this month is to show up and be very present in my direct messages. So if my personal goal is to be very present in my direct messages, then I need to allocate time to be there. I don't get overwhelmed because I see it all in my schedule and it's been laid out for me. The overwhelm comes from, I just feels like I have a bunch of things to do. Well, put it on a piece of paper, allocate a time. Does it fit in your workday? And if it doesn't, what needs to be prioritized in your workday? And then push back to tomorrow. And then not beat yourself up that you can't get everything done humanly in a day because you're not a unicorn. I wish I had 36 hours in a day. I'd probably rule the world. But since we don't have that, we need to just say, I'm going to do the most of what I can with what I have. Okay, Jennifer Arthur, what is your opinion on content batching, and do you prefer weekly, daily, or monthly? Huge fan of batching content. I have a whole program and a whole system on how to create a month of social media posts in one day. It's a class that I have taught. It's a free class that I taught plenty times over. I'm probably going to teach it later this year because I'm so proud of it. I love it. What I've noticed now is that because I don't have in my schedule a full day to dedicate to creating the content for everything that I need, I find myself batching content, my video content twice a month. And then I plan out my post for the week on Sunday. So I spend time, I know if I'm gonna post a reel, if I'm gonna go live, if I'm gonna post a photo, I make sure that I have the captions all ready to go. And that takes me about 25 minutes to plan for the week, and then like 5 minutes each day to post on that day. Chelsea Craig, I know Jasmine uses posts from 10 days past on Instagram for Facebook, but what about when you're promoting something new? I have weekly YouTube videos. Chelsea, this is going to be a personal decision. So what you'll see as a part of our strategy would be if I am posting a produced video from me and like making a nice video and I put it out on Facebook, that video was posted on Instagram in an IGTV a week and 4 hours earlier. And so I'll put it out on Facebook and then I'll put it out on YouTube. But I am not going out on Instagram pushing people to YouTube. That's my strategy, because studies have shown that very few people want to leave the platform that they're on. So Case in point, I am going live at the time of this recording. I'm going live on Facebook. 10 minutes after this live ends, the video will end up on YouTube, but it's not a live video on YouTube. It's an uploaded video on YouTube. So last week, I decided to go live on YouTube so that people on YouTube could have the same experience as people on Facebook. So I'm really a big advocate, and I know it's not for everybody, but I am a big advocate for creating content on that particular platform. Because people on YouTube want to experience and be spoken to like they're there on YouTube. And people on Instagram don't want to see a post, like a square post that says, posted a new video on YouTube, and then there's an exit link. Studies show that what you call your click-through, right? If somebody's in a story and they see like 15 seconds of your video that you have on YouTube, you're like, posted a new video on YouTube, and they only see 15 seconds. Studies show that the click-through from that Instagram story to your YouTube channel is less than 2%. So if 100 people saw your Instagram story, less than 2 people, well, we'll just say 2 people may click over to your YouTube account. That's a really, really small number. So my goal would be to create content for the users where they're at, and then speak to those people on those platforms. Even though I had posted an IGTV video of the exact video that I would be posting on YouTube, an IGTV is a 9:16 and a YouTube is a 16:9. It's a horizontal. I want to make sure that the viewing experience is for each of those people on that platform. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, Chelsea, please ask a follow-up question. Okay. April, I have been posting 4 times a day. Is that too much? I post at 12 a.m., 6 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. There is not a right or wrong. I want to be very clear. There is no such thing as a right or wrong. However, there will be a right for your dream customer. So I don't post 4 times on Instagram. I tested posting twice a day on Instagram. And when Instagram was chronological, like you just saw the post and the time that they were posted, posting twice a day increased the likelihood of people seeing my content. But then when they changed to the algorithm, I noticed that people were not engaging in the same way. And so my audience clearly spoke to me that once a day was the amount of time they wanted to see my Instagram post, because I was driving up engagement for that particular post. Now, it sounds to me, April, at the rate at which you're posting, because you're posting at 12 a.m., it means you're scheduling your post, which is totally fine. But what type of engagement are you getting on those posts? That's going to be the big question, because if the engagement's not there, that's your audience saying it's just too much to interact with. And this goes back down to a lot of the time, the questions that we have on people saying, why am I not converting? Why am I not booking clients for my coaching business? Why am I not selling more of my jewelry? Why aren't people booking me for photography? Well, first and foremost, once you have your marketing cadence on social media, you have to know how to turn those followers and your content into sales. And that's what we want to really dive deep into, the 5-part framework of how you need to strategically, with a plan, show up on how to get sales on the back of social media. I'm going to be inviting you to this live class, jasminestar.com/sales. It's a free class. We'll be there for an hour. Live coaching, real life examples, not just like, oh, hey, this is what I did with my business. Although it was, I'm using other businesses as examples that deployed against the exact same strategy and got some pretty killer results. I look forward to seeing you all there. Bye, y'all.